thank you very much. It's actually not true. We have been founders of a startup as well that brought energy to off-grid communities in Africa and other places in the world. And my partner, co-partner, pitched the solar kiosk, I think, 8 years ago at the Eco Summit. So we go back sometime. Anyway, today I'm talking about something different, but it's all based on energy. As an architect, I understood very early that energy is the global currency. And it combines everything. It combines the residences or where we work with mobility. Die Immobilie und die Mobilität. It's one thing. I want to talk about a new way of transport today. When we talk about infrastructure, also as architects, we talk about civilization. Why is that? Without a strong infrastructure, there is no growth. There is no capacity to actually start a civilization. This is the Via Appia in Rome. The Roman Empire wouldn't have existed without ships, yes, Mare Nostrum, but also the highways. They invented kind of the highways. Maybe the Germans perfected it. Anyway, but without infrastructure, you can't really progress. So I want to talk about Hyperloop today. When I talk about it, I talk about us as architects in a consortium of people led by Mode 5. And this is the difference, the Hyperloop led by this consortium in Mode 5. This is not inventors with the technology. Technology, we're agnostic about it. We take what's necessary because it's all out there already. These are operators. They can calculate the system, hence they can really bring it to market. And that's the huge difference to all the Hyperloop things you heard before. I start with a problem, and I tell you why the solution is the Hyperloop. The problem, especially of the Deutsche Bundesbahn, is they don't reach the demands we have today. They will double, by 2050, they will double the demand of individual traffic, and they will triple by goods. The goods even today, because the grid, the infrastructure we have today in Germany is absolutely maximized, meaning one little domino stone is falling, all the rest is falling as well, hence the Deutsche Bundesbahn is always late. And there is no rescue in sight because it's just too expensive to build the infrastructure. So they can't meet these demands, they need help. The problem why this is not resolvable is the permits take forever in order to implement. We're not in China. We are in a democracy, and it just takes longer, sometimes up to 25 years before a new track is built, meaning we can't wait that long. It will just be too long to implement it. Plus, the Deutsche Bahn is great in terms of, compared with a car, but it's still not meeting the demand of the energy reduction that Germany as a country signed off by. So our climate goals 2050, just with the Deutsche Bundesbahn, won't be working. And this is a killer argument. The wear and tear of the Deutsche Bundesbahn, of any railroad system, is incredibly high. We're talking billions and billions of euros that have to be poured into the system. Every track has to be replaced every 25 years. You can imagine what that means. So the solution that will help the Deutsche Bundesbahn even will be the Hyperloop. Why is this? The Hyperloop basically is a maglev train, a magnetic levitated train in a tube. The tube is almost vacuum. It's not full vacuum, but almost, meaning it will go, it's floating with no resistance, so it goes fast, and you need almost no energy to do this. It's protected. You can build an infrastructure that then will gain its own energy because you don't need much energy to propel the train. You can give energy even back while you're building the system because you need to put shade on the steel tubes. Otherwise, they change, and you don't want that. So make this an advantage. This is a rendering we have done in the last months, and as you can see, and that's the game changer, we put it on the Autobahn. If we would do it as the Deutsche Bundesbahn, if you build new tracks, same thing, 25 years. If you think about putting it on an existing infrastructure, the whole thing changes, not only in Germany, in Europe, all over the world. Because you put it in the middle or you put it on the side, and you have to talk to one entity, and we're already doing this. So this then becomes easy. And while doing this, the interesting part is you cannot only connect the metropolitan areas, you go through the countryside. You can start where the Deutsche Bahn is not even there anymore. Why you do this? You have to invent certain blocks. You know, where do you pass? How does crossings work? If you're on the Autobahn, of course, you have to go over the existing bridges and so forth. But that's no rocket science. That's easy to do. We stay on the outskirts with the Hyperloop because we're on the Autobahn. You can't go into the inner city. So you have to create relays around the cities, basically. Going a little bit faster here. So what are the real potentials in the Hyperloop? Fast approval, and that's a huge factor. It is more efficient. We could go 1,000 kilometers per hour, but on the Autobahn, with the radii that we have at the Autobahn, 400 to 500 kilometers per hour is pretty fast. If you go faster, the customer comfort is compromised, let's say. But that gives a capacity of much more, maybe goods in the future, but especially individuals traveling. We save energy, we actually produce energy. Just compare the system, it's 80% reduction, but with the photovoltaics I was talking about, we actually create a positive balance. And it's a very low operational cost. Pretty much everything is automized, and so you don't have to have a lot of staff there. So in the end, and that's not me saying that, that's mode 5. Again, operators, and that's the future, also in architecture. It's operation, it's maintenance. This will define how architects survive if your building is resilient into the future. The same with infrastructure. This makes private financing possible. All we need is the beginning from the government. It's in the coalition contract, im Koalitionsvertrag, Hyperloop, so we still probably start in Hamburg. After we've proven the case, and again, everybody's there. Siemens is there, Airbus is there, you know, ThyssenKrupp, even Volkswagen, they're all there. We then think about private financing. So it's not tax money that goes into it, it's private financing. And then you can create a new industry. Show you a couple of images to understand how this actually works. Basically, the main difference is you embark in a capsule, right? And that can be somewhere in the countryside. That capsule then is combined with the train. So the train building is not at one station. It can be anywhere on the track. And then you go into the cities. You can connect with public transportation. As I said, you don't go into the cities, you go to the outskirts. The S-Bahn ring in Berlin, for example, there you change mode of transportation and then you go to the inner cities. It can be Straßenbahn, S-Bahn, all the likes, which is interesting because there, as an architect, will be development on these relays. Very important, we're always forgetting the countryside, we're all kind of globalists in our thinking, but if you can put the people in the countryside into that system, that's great. And maybe that's the last really interesting thing. You diverge, your capsule goes from A to Z, you know, not the whole train has to stop there, it's capsules. And you can connect to the other connectors to the airports. If you check in already with your passport, it's all automated on the airports today as well, you can check in, you don't have to go through immigration there, you just fly off because you're already in a very secured system. And that's basically my pitch to you. If you're interested in this kind of technology, let's talk. Thank you.